Additional vehicle loans. Stop into your local branch or get more information online at ncacu.org.
North Central Area Credit Union.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Sports fans, check out UpNorthSportsRadio.com for all your Detroit sports action. Get full schedules for the Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions, and U of M football. Catch Friday Faceoff live and hit the links with JC on episodes of Finding Fairways. Our high school sports guru, Rich Calkins, hosts the High School Scoreboard Show. And don't miss Traverse City West Titan football and boys basketball action. Catch games live or see past episodes on the podcast page. Real sports fans, go to UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
Good morning, Northern Michigan, and welcome to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport TVC. Jerry Coyne live in studio with Rich. Is the door shut?
It is not.
Are we on?
We are,
yeah. Oh, well, you're supposed to give me the thumbs up. Have you forgot? Yeah, thank you. I think Rich was actually drinking while he was watching baseball last night. Before we get into the sports talk, we have Justin Andrade and Wayne Copa joining us from the Grayling Rotary talking about the long day around. Guys, just talking about this a little bit on Northern Focus. Tell us about the long day around.
Well, we start out at the Grayling restaurant at 6:30 in the morning, and we ride to Lake Huron. And we get the water on our right. And then we just keep the water on our right till we get around to almost Manistee. And by the time we get in, we'll start in the dark and end in the dark. We'll cover around 600 miles.
Yeah, it's quite a day that you have planned. Now, I know, Justin, you were talking that you guys did this. Was this last year? Was the first year you did this?
No,
or
Wayne actually started this. This will be the 5th year of the ride, but Wayne started back in 2020, and then 20 and 21 Wayne did it solo, and 22 I joined on along with another Rotarian, Larry Friedman. So the last 2 years we've had 3 riders. This year will be the 5th year, and how we're celebrating is we have 5 riders.
All right.
We've got 5 committed riders.
It's all the way up. You got to join his microphone over there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have one rider that's coming from Grand Rapids, works at BMW of Grand Rapids, and we've got another rider from Gaylord.
From Gaylord, yep. Tim is he's a salesman at Extreme Power Sports. They've partnered with us this year.
Yeah.
And they've given Extreme Power Sports donated some very bright jackets, so we should be seen from space, as we go along the shoreline. So it should a lot of safety involved with that, so it's great.
Yeah, you're also got a video component to this.
We're taking some photos along the route. We're hoping to get some videos. If I can keep up with Wayne or leapfrog Wayne, he's the ride leader. So
I don't think that's going to happen, but go ahead, give that a shot.
I think I'm going to ride sweep this year. But the vests that the Gaylord shop has given us are really good, and they're high visibility vests that you would use at a construction site or
Gotcha,
something
yeah.
else. And it's great to be seen when you're on a motorcycle.
Is that the bike you're going to be riding, the BMW and your adventure bike, the Yamaha out there?
Yeah. Those are the ones. Yeah, we're actually doing some photo shoots today at some of the businesses that have supported us this year. So, Grayling Restaurant, Spikes. We're here at Q100, so we're gonna get a picture out front once we take off from here. But yeah, it's a great ride, 600 miles. We're raising awareness for the fight against polio. That's a Rotary International World Project.
Correct.
That's been going on for quite a while now, and like Wayne said, we're down to 2 countries that have polio. We're trying to provide vaccinations for kids under 5 years old. Trying to get it.
Yeah.
Get rid
in
of
Afghanistan and Pakistan.
With Afghanistan and Pakistan, and a lot of people don't realize the magnitude of it. they're issuing somewhere around 350 million vaccinations a year just for those two countries.
Well, I know the population in Pakistan is huge. I'm not nearly as aware in Afghanistan, but it doesn't matter. Polio, you like to think that it's eradicated, but it doesn't matter what nationalities or politics are about. Children shouldn't have to be dealing with polio as a part of their lives or ending their lives.
It was really mind-boggling when India beat this.
Yeah.
The most populated country in the world. And they're kind of challenged with some of their infrastructure.
There's no doubt about that. Justin, how do people make a donation?
Well, we're trying to, like I said, this ride is drawing awareness. Right now, we have a website set up through the Rotary Foundation. It's called Raise Rotary. So if you go on Raise Rotary, you should be able to find the Long Day Around. We have some social media links going as well. The Long Day Around on Facebook. We've got Grayling Rotary Riders on Instagram, and also the Grayling Rotary Club is the Rotary Club of Grayling on Facebook is sharing our links as well. There's a link to that page. You can donate online, or it gives you instructions too. If you'd like to send a check into the Rotary Foundation, you can send a check into there. But every dollar raised is tripled by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So the past 2 years, we've raised over $5,000 each year, so that equates to about $15,000 that our club has raised the last 2 years. And we found out last year from the district governor that our club was one of the top contributors to the End Polio Now campaign from Michigan. So we're pretty proud of that. A small club of 30 people, and we had 3 Rotary riders the last 2 years. So we're pretty proud of that. We're doing some live links this year where you can follow us via GPS. You'll be able to see our tracks, see where we're at, where we're heading next, follow our progress.
Yeah, Justin will be calling in to some of the jocks next Friday on Q100 Michigan, and we also have a link on Q100 Michigan. Guys, best of luck. Thanks so much for joining us, and I know you're going to beat that 5,000 by another 5 this year.
We hope so. October 24th is World Polio Day. That's a Thursday. Follow our ride, please.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. All right. So back to sport. Well, that's kind of sports. Wayne, thank you, Justin. All right. Rich Calkins. I can't imagine Rich stayed that quiet for that long. I've never seen that before. But I know our Tigers got eliminated on Saturday, Rich. But the high wire act that is playoff baseball continued last night. David Fry is making himself some money.
Him and Mr. Noel, not the last Noel, because he came through huge. And, yeah, like you said, Fry, absolutely. We're going to see nightmares of him being Tigers fans. And he just continues that now as the Yankees, who came from behind in the 8th inning.
Ninth inning. That was the top of the ninth.
Yeah, the 8th is when Judge hit the home run, and then Stanton followed up with it. They take the lead. Then here comes Cleveland in the 9th then, and they tied the game to send it to. It was just so the emotional swings between when Judge hit that home run and Stanton hit that home run, they went silent.
Yeah.
Then of course in the 9th inning they're going crazy again, and it was what playoff baseball's all about.
Well, no, it's not. That is completely a lie. We don't see this in playoff baseball. That has never happened.
But this is why we watch playoff baseball.
But I'm just saying what happened yesterday in Cleveland Stadium has never happened before in baseball. Not even playoff baseball. Game tying home run in the bottom of the 9th, walk-off home run in the 10th inning. Never happened. The way the whole thing unfolded.
In how many years of baseball? I mean, yeah.
I still think Cleveland's in massive trouble because.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, Judge and Stanton are starting to roll, just like Ohtani is in. You can't throw him. You cannot throw him a strike.
You can't.
Yeah.
And then now Mookie Betts is heating up now too. And then so you get
they benched Freddie Freeman. Freeman's had a bad ankle. They kept him in the lineup to begin with because they wanted his bat. Now they're like, it doesn't matter.
The Dodgers are MVP. I mean, it's just ridiculous how many MVPs, former MVPs, they have in that lineup.
Well, they've only had the biggest payroll in baseball for the last 7 years. You saw Magic Johnson at the game in New York.
Sure.
He looked like Santa Claus in blue. But, it's been – hey, I turned the football game off and just watching baseball. I mean, partly it was the fact that the Broncos were blowing out the Saints.
Yes.
But the baseball has been eminently entertaining.
Again, you sent a text, but I had turned it over just in time to watch the Judge home run to right center field, and then to watch Stanton follow it up with another home run. So then I'm glued in there for the last 2-3 innings.
I see Gabe. Was Gabe not even watching baseball? I don't know. He's probably watching the Red Wings getting their butts kicked. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, it was a fantastic evening of baseball. Going backwards, our last show, of course, a week ago today, the Tigers end up losing, one bad pitch by Skubal, the first time he's ever given up a grand slam.
Right.
In fact, it was the first time, only the second time all year he gave up 5 runs.
Yeah, exactly. It was such an atypical start for Skubal.
But I saw it coming.
But
after he hit what's his name on the forearm with the bases loaded. Nice. He made a huge effort to get out of the way.
Yeah, he did.
But you could see that Skubal was a little upset.
The expectations of having him pitch at such a high level for so long just was unrealistic. He's human. He's a great pitcher, but again.
He's never given up a grand slam.
Yeah, exactly. That's bound to happen at some point.
No,
it wasn't a good point at the time it took place, of course. But you could see something coming about where he was going to be a little bit more of a notch down than what we were used to.
Well, let's put it this way.
Skubal.
What was that? The fifth inning is when this happened. He walked. He gave up a hit, walked the second batter. Before that walk, he'd only had 1 3-ball count in 3 weeks. So I'm not, I have to call bullshit on what you're saying because he has been impervious.
Well, he has been. Yeah. But again, in my line of thinking, I'm thinking to expect
your
him.
Negative thoughts killed us.
It's being realistic and going, oh my gosh, this is at
agree with you.
3 pitch counts. It's like that's unheard of to never get to ball 4, and he's just like he's dominating the strike zone. I mean, he couldn't miss.
Yeah.
It was like he was on a roll of throwing darts, and he just kept going and going, but a whole lot more difficult.
Yeah, but was it? It wasn't Fry that had the grand slam, was it?
Who was it? Was it Fry or
I think
the other guy?
It might have been Fry.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was the guy that they got in the trade from Washington. I can't remember his name now. I think Stanton maybe.
Could be, yeah. That's again.
But he knew that he was going to throw a fastball, and when a fastball hitter knows a fastball is coming, that's just when something as I don't know if it wasn't catastrophic. You hit a batter with the bases loaded, you're knocking in. You're bringing in a run,
right?
And the Tigers had just taken the lead, which there's a lot of things that compounded that play. Yes. As a pitcher like Skubal, the Tigers scratch out a run in a series where runs have been hard to come by, and then you knew he had to be completely ticked off at himself.
Yes.
And Federer even came out, but I guess I'm not shocked that he threw a fastball, but. If he throws a changeup, that guy misses the pitch by a mile and a half.
Yeah, by 3 feet.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just kind of
Every once in a while, they guess right.
Yeah,
you know, and
well, it wasn't that much of a guess. You know, he's going to rear back and throw a fastball. It was only 96 miles an hour. It might have been helpful if he threw it at 100.
Right. It just missed the bat by a little bit more, by a half inch, and then we're
It's
not.
a pop up. Yeah. So it's. I know it's a week ago, and I'm over it because they went so much further than they could have anyways.
Exactly.
And the other side of this is we'll see what happens if you've got 2 more games really quickly in this series.
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing the Yankees and the Guardians are playing again tonight, and then they're playing a day game tomorrow.
Okay.
I believe that game's the Saturday game is a mid-afternoon game.
Wow.
So, after having all this weird, of course, they don't like to play on Sundays. They don't
that's right. They never like to go up against the NFL.
Although they will do it on the West Coast. They will play the late night game there.
They don't mind going against college football, but pro football, they just write that off.
Yeah, I mean, for baseball, the way it's been going, how exciting the playoffs have been, we really need a Dodgers-Yankees World Series.
Oh, that's to get the most eyes on the whole thing and the highest payrolls and all of that.
And just the massive slugging numbers, although Cleveland has been hitting some home runs.
Yeah.
The Noel home run is the real surprise.
Oh, my God. Big Christmas, baby. Big Christmas.
Yeah. So
and his bat flip, I'd like to know how fast that bat flip was when it came back.
Well, that was both of those guys. Both of those guys, Noel in the 9th and Fry in the 10th, knew as soon as they hit it, it was a home run.
They did, exactly. Yeah. There was no doubt in their mind, for sure. I mean, it's just like, and that crowd just erupted and went, of course, as you would expect, it just go crazy. And no, it makes it so much fun to be viewing, fall baseball. Again, just a week ago we were still watching Tiger games.
Yep.
But like you said, so surprising, such an incredible year that just closed out so hot at the end of the year, and to have the kind of season to get people thinking about baseball again here in the state of Michigan.
Yeah. There's a swell, at least, I shouldn't say a swell, but there's already some discussion that the Tigers should bring back Flaherty. Yeah. He's a free agent. He's pitched very well for the Dodgers. He pitched
really well that last game. Yeah. He was lights out.
Yeah, he pitched game 1 of the Mets series. Yeah, that the Dodgers won in L.A. 8-0, and he went 7 1/3.
He's got a little attitude to him too.
Yeah, he does. He
does. Think him and Scooble kind of
yeah.
Got that edge.
They're gonna. The Tigers obviously going to have to figure out their starting staff. Right now you've got a Scooble, and Olsen will probably be a starter. Maybe they should bring back Casey Mize. I thought Mize pitched pretty good yesterday against the Yankees.
Yeah, not Mize, but the 11 Boyd.
Or Boyd, Matthew Boyd.
Matthew, good to see him. And he was coming off injury. He just started throwing again. I think it was August or something like that. Mm-hmm. So he didn't
have a team.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the Guardians signed him off the street.
Right.
Turned out to be a good signing for them. I don't know if they're going to, they've got a lot of pitchers that'll be coming off of injury. So I don't know where Matthew Boyd's going to end up, but I'm sure he would love to be back in Detroit.
We would welcome him back for sure. And obviously we need at least one more, if not 2 right-handed bats in that lineup.
Well, you know what Soto's not a right-hander, but
I'll take him. I'll still take him.
I can't. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how much Ilitch is willing to spend. I mean, the lowest payroll in baseball. They're probably. I don't know if they're going to. I mean, Scooble's contract is still good through next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they will rework his deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys, all those arbitration eligible guys, they'll get bumps, they'll get things like that.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we need to do something via free agency, and then maybe I wouldn't doubt if there's a trade candidate out there also.
Who are you trading? Who would you trade off this team?
I would have to do a deep dive on it and see. But obviously, if you do it,
is somebody going to take Javi Baez?
No, it's taking Javi. No.
So, but why would you trade any one of these kids?
Right. Well, I
Just
don't know.
saying. I mean,
Right.
you're going to trade Perez?
No, Wenzel,
Justin
Perez,
Henry, Malloy, Sweeney. You're not going to trade any of these.
They
Colt
came
Keith.
up huge. Those guys, I mean, Justin Henry, Malloy, and Perez both. The moment wasn't too big for them. That's what I loved about those guys.
The only guy that's really I don't know how tradable Torkelson is.
I know. That's the one that bothers me the most.
Yeah, but you know, he started to come alive at the end of the playoffs.
He did, right at the very end.
I mean,
again.
he ended up hitting in the Cleveland series over 300.
And that's what he kind of gives you just enough to kind of,
Well, that's enough to give him the confidence to get past that mental stuff.
He's got to get right, because again, a 30 home run guy that's got all the potential in the world, but just like you said, it's got to get past that mental block thing again.
All right, we'll be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff, brought to us by TVC Airport. Cherry Capital will have Destination NFL and lots of college and professional football talk here on Up North Sports Radio. It's time for Destination MLB. Jerry
It's time to fly. Start your next comfortable, convenient journey from Northern Michigan's hometown airport, Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. TVC makes your trip easier with affordable terminal-adjacent parking and all the friendly airport services without all the crowds. Fly from Cherry Capital Airport to your dream destination on Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United. Visit tvcairport.com and fly with TVC. Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
Just like your jewelry, after so many years, it's time to repair, remake, or redesign. And that's exactly what we're doing at Hogan's Jewelers. I'm Erin Martins. And boy, are we remodeling. We're still on target for a mid to late fall completion. It's noisy sometimes, dusty quite a bit, and there are times when it feels like we're working in a phone booth. Depending upon the day, the available workspace we have gets smaller, then bigger, and on it goes. We're toughing through the shrinking workspace, but the funny thing is that while our space is shrinking due to the remodeling, we are open and we have new jewelry arriving pretty much daily. Our custom work and repairs, business as usual. Keeping up with it all is definitely a challenge, but it's taking shape behind the temporary wall, and we are ecstatic for you to see the new layout. It may not seem like it, but our front door is open, and we will remain open through our remodel. Just come in, as our remodel sale is still going on, and you never know what's being marked down until you see it for yourself. When this is all said and done, we'll be better able to help you love the ones you love on Main Street, M32 in downtown Gaylord at Hogan's Jewelers.
Celebrate Halloween with Odawa Casino Petoskey at the huge Halloween Bash and Costume Contest, Saturday, October 26th in Victory Sports and Entertainment. Think your costume is the scariest, the sexiest, or the most original? Enter the costume contest to win cold, hard cash. There's even a prize for best group costume. Music, dancing, and fun at the Victory's Halloween Bash, October 26th. Doors open at 8 from Odawa Casino Petoskey and Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. Time to check in with Kevin Klein at tvcairport.com. And Kev, we should have gone to Dallas.
That would have been an awesome game, Coach. Awesome. But, you know, we took our lumps, too. So, with injuries, but yeah, we're hot. I think we're getting some things together. You know, when you look at what golf has put together over the last few weeks, and our defense is getting. I think our secondary is really improving. I think we're top notch there. So,
well, there's no doubt. Brian Branch named Defensive Player of the Week. So the back end is playing a lot better, although we'll see what kind of pressure. Big game. Can we still get on an airplane and fly to Minneapolis?
You can. It's a little more expensive because it's last minute. So you're paying about $600 to do that, but not too bad for a last minute jump on a plane to get there. So I think it's a good opportunity to go play, and let's take our divisional opponent and
one of the biggest.
How about it?
Yeah, for sure, one of the biggest games of the week. And then I know we were looking at the Houston game, a couple other games that you can get to pretty easily from Cherry Capital Airport.
Well, Houston is 387, so it's a couple weeks ahead of from now, so 387. So you're looking at some great things there. Chicago later down in December is just shy of $300. So you got some great opportunities to go see our Lions on the road.
Yeah, and we've been seeing how many fans of the Lions have been showing up in these stadiums. So I'm sure you're starting to see more folks in their Lions jerseys going through security, heading to some of these games.
Absolutely. It's fun to see, our Honolulu Blues, so to speak, and those white jerseys that just pop out that are the away jerseys. It's pretty awesome to see those fans get on board and go. And you know what, though? I still say, even though the season started off a little rough for the Red Wings, we're starting to see some of those jerseys go through. And, great example, they got Buffalo coming up next week. That's only $288 to go see the Sabres and the Red Wings. And not too far down the road, they play the Blackhawks, and that's just a little over $300. So, Red Wings are starting to make it happen here, and so hopefully we'll get over this rough patch and get our defense and our goaltending back in line.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Red Wings right now. I'm sorry, but yesterday's game, we got to figure a couple things out.
For sure. But, I will say this. There's glimmers of hope there with our Red Wings.
Oh, I'm not worried. I just said, you know what? We'll bask in the glow of our Tigers and our Lions. Just for information, if you want to go to that Houston game, tickets are about $190 per seat to get in to see the Lions play the Texans in Houston.
That's an awesome trip. And, I'm going to jump on board and actually go down to Houston on Sunday this week to go visit our friends at Avello.
Right.
One of our newest airlines here. And so we'll be chatting with them to see what services could possibly be added to us here. But one thing I want to hit before we go is, hey, you got those holidays and you got those wintertime vacations looking down to Florida. You're starting to see fares, $99 one way to get to almost all the Florida markets for our holiday travel. So now's the time to book and get those spring break holiday travel times. And hey, even those middle winter blues in the middle of January when you're just thinking, I want to go someplace warm, now's the time to put that together.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, people have been putting it off because the weather's been so good up here lately, but the longer you wait, as Kevin always says, the higher the prices are going to be.
Absolutely. Time to book now.
Kevin, how do people find out more information about you guys?
You go to tvcairport.com.
Kevin Klein, thanks. We'll talk to you next week, bud.
Have a great one.
All right. There you go. Travel in style out of Cherry Capital Airport. Happy to have our studios there, Rich.
Yeah, and Kevin always working so hard to get the best deals and more and more going to ports of entry to get to these flights.
Yeah, it's so rough to fly to Houston and Vegas and all the other. Oh, God, I'm working. But he actually is. It's amazing how much Cherry Capital Airport has grown under his tutelage. And there's a lot of discussion about opening another
like terminal?
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how many more flights have been coming through.
When we covered the Friday nights when we're at TC West up there at Thurlby Field, high above everybody and stuff, just looking at the planes constantly coming, it's constant, JC.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's showing how much more people are flying
No doubt
in and
about
out
it.
of TC.
We were talking about the Lions and the Vikings, an incredibly big game.
Yes.
Happening on Sunday at 1 o'clock. You can listen to it on Q100 Michigan. Pregame is at noon. I'm really, really interested. I mean, this was a game that you're going to be paying attention to. Obviously, the two of the best teams in the NFC, maybe the two best teams in the NFC, facing off against each other. First division game for the Lions, and the whole Hutchinson injury and what this defense will look like without it is probably the biggest storyline.
For sure. Yeah. Obviously, through the first 6 games, he was on a pace. He was the leader in the clubhouse to be Defensive Player of the Year. And to have that devastating injury, it will be. They were still on the high of the rebound from him in that injury. They just decimated Dallas.
Dallas was cooked.
They were.
Before that, and good for the Lions for it not to the shock of it. I mean, you saw all the players, how emotional Jared Goff was and some of the other guys around that. Everybody knew when you've got the other team there, and when an injury like that happens, and you hear a warrior like Aiden Hutchinson scream in agony.
Exactly.
And you can see the bone popping through the
That's
it's major.
Yes.
And thank God it's not a neck or anything where
right.
you wheel the guy off unconscious. Rich, as well as anybody, football players do not want the cart.
No, they don't. That's the thing. They're like,
I've heard that from Aaron Rodgers. When he blew out his Achilles, he goes, "No, if I'm not getting on the cart."
Right.
It's
only it's serious if you're going off on the cart.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure. And he had that surgery right away.
Yeah.
In Dallas, there.
Because that has. Somebody told me what the name of it is. When you break your leg like that, and the marrows start releasing into the body and everything else, it can lead to a very serious poisoning.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what happened. There's a name for it.
Okay.
I knew this beforehand.
Okay.
But
like
that's why they operated on right away.
Okay.
They have to put that bone back together to keep, because there's no other way to have all the marrow seeping out and everything else, and that cannot get into your bloodstream.
Right.
So,
wow.
Yeah, you doctors out there know what the term of it is. So that's why they had the surgery right away.
Okay.
And all reports say that it's not as critically bad as it is. They are not going to put him on the field. I don't care if it's the Super Bowl or not.
No, that's what I said. Well, might have it back.
So
I'm like, dang.
Let's speculate.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get Max Crosby.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Would I love it? Absolutely. But I don't think.
There's some reasons to really consider it.
Mm-hmm.
If the Raiders would take 2 first-round draft picks, I would do the deal.
I would do it because that's basically giving up a 28 to 32 draft pick.
Yeah,
basically,
it's 2 years in a row.
Round. Yeah.
And somebody said it on TV, and I've thought this forever. Why are draft picks so important? I mean, what Devontae Adams is going to bring you.
Yes.
And you think you're going to find somebody as a 3rd-round pick that's going to the Hall of Fame? I don't understand this obsession with pick. We can't give up a number 1.
Right.
How many number 1s have the Lions blown? And I'm talking about, 1st, 2nd, 3rd pick in the draft.
Right.
And you want...
Yeah.
So... Max Crosby for 2?
Oh, I would do that.
I'm doing. I mean, he's only 27. Can you imagine those two on the D line together?
Oh my! See, and that's what I think. That next 3 to 4 year window, the Lions would be Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, and this is a guy that went to Eastern that absolutely loves Detroit. I mean, those guys are like brothers from another mother.
That's exactly right.
I mean, the only difference between Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson's are the tattoos.
Tattoos. That's exactly right.
So, if I could make that deal, I'd make that deal.
But I'm thinking, and again, because remember, we lost Marcus Davenport for the season a couple weeks earlier.
And Pico.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden we're taking.
I mean, that got totally lost in the Aiden Hutchinson sauce.
Yeah.
I don't know what Pico's first name is.
I can't remember.
But he's been playing really solid D-line. He was playing 40 snaps a game.
Yep.
And he gets a torn bicep, and he's out for the year.
Gone.
So they brought in Isaiah Thomas.
Right, not the point guard. I don't. How ironic, Isaiah Thomas of all people. But I really haven't heard much about the football player Isaiah.
The two guys that I think make the most sense for Brad Holmes is Zadarius
Smith. That's what I was.
Or
thinking.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Right. With the clown show, would he, fit into that environment and all that?
What did he do for the Ravens last year, Rich?
Oh, exactly.
9 sacks.
And that's an environment that is very similar culture-wise in the locker room.
He would. I think he would pay his own airfare to get to Detroit out of Carolina.
Right.
Because to me, he makes the most sense. That is a 4th-round pick. And I don't even know what he's making this year. He's on a 1-year deal to get the opportunity. And now Clowney, I don't think he has a Super Bowl ring. He was with the Niners. They made it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
The Ravens last year don't even. So you're talking about a lot of different areas. Now, obviously, Campbell's up there. Culture fit, everything else. I mean, that's why I don't think you're going to see Hassan Reddick in a Lions uniform, unless he blows them away in the interview process.
Right, and saying, look, the reason I didn't play was because I was lied to. They promised me they'd do an extension, and if they're lying to me right out of the gates, what does that mean? And so, if he has a convincing story as to why he hasn't been playing, then, they would take
But, I mean, how many weeks is going to take for him to be Hassan Reddick?
To get up to because especially he missed all of training camp, missed all these games. Yep. It's going to be weeks and weeks before he can actually play.
Yeah, and you always got to be wary of is he just going to sign whatever so he doesn't forfeit the year?
That's exactly because
he's got to play by week 12 or he loses the whole year. Which means so many things in contractually in football. It's ridiculous.
Towards his retirement and things like that to get that NFL pension. And, Yes.
Well, he's got an NFL pension. That's not the problem. The problem is that he's exactly in the same space as he is right now next year. The Jets still hold his rights. Then he is in a way worse situation to sign a contract. He just loses more and more power.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sitting out.
The only reason why he has any power right now is because not only do the Lions need a rusher, but guys are falling all over the place already.
Right.
This is the other problem.
This is why you almost need to be a little more, instead of just sitting back and taking it easy, guys are dropping like flies, and so there's going to be more competition for guys.
Exactly. So Washington lost their best defensive end. The Commanders, who are looking really good.
You put a competent quarterback in there. Look what you have.
Obviously the Cowboys missing some players. Micah Parsons, let's bring him in.
Available.
Then we get my dream job, right? I get Micah and Penny.
Yes, that's exactly right.
We will go over the entire NFL schedule here when we return on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff, brought to us by Cherry Capital Airport. TVCAirport.com.
The Michigan News Network.
Busy weekend coming up, including a charity exhibition between Michigan and Oakland basketball at Little Caesars Arena in downtown Detroit. OSU coach Greg Kampe excited to be the first opponent for U of M coach Dusty May and support Forgotten Harvest.
Again, it's a tremendous charity. It's a great cause. It's Little Caesars Arena. It's Michigan and Oakland. And, what better way to spend a Sunday evening?
Meanwhile, the Michigan football team ready to travel to Champaign to take on Illinois in a ranked Big Ten game. The Wolverines 3.5-point favorites out of their bye week. As for the Spartans, they're touchdown underdogs for their home game against Iowa, their 4th straight night game. And former New Jersey governor and Cowboys fan Chris Christie taking a lot of flack from Detroit fans, calling Lions coach Dan Campbell classless on Sirius XM. Not a fan of Campbell running up the score with trick plays in Dallas last weekend. Christie exclaimed that what goes around comes around. Chris Villar, Michigan News Network.
Too much noise.
Let's be clear. Kamala Harris, daughter of civil rights activist,
HBCU grad,
HU, knows what it takes and is committed to keeping Black America moving forward. She took on big banks and won billions for homeowners. As VP, cast a deciding vote to cap insulin prices, protect health care, and invest billions in clean air and water in our communities. As president, she'll put affordable housing back in reach and stop corporate price gouging at the gas pump and in grocery stores.
Donald Trump sued for racial discrimination, tried to erase our votes,
committed to vengeance,
and is in the pockets of the big corporations.
Kamala Harris for the people.
Trump for himself. Clear?
Real clear.
Vote Kamala Harris for president.
Paid for by BlackPack, which is responsible for the content of this ad. BlackPack.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Watch the TC West Titans streaming live at UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
Brought to you in part by Jimmy John's in Traverse City, the sandwich of sandwiches.
TC West Titans on UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
Yes, UpNorthSportsRadios.com's Friday Faceoff back live on air, or if you want to see Rich and I on in video form, that's available on Up North Sports Radios on the Facebook page, where you get to see Rich and JJ do the TC West Titans. We'll talk about that game a little bit later on. Before we get into the stuff, I mean, as beautiful as the weather has been, Rich, the colors are really starting to pop.
Oh, they're beautiful.
So this is the last weekend, folks, at Shanty Creek for both golf. Cedar River and Hawkeye are still open. The colors will be amazing there, and the rounds are, discounted as well. So you want to get one last round of golf in. I might sneak out there on Sunday. I don't think so. I'll be watching the Lions. Maybe I'll listen to the Lions and
I'm going to be
football.
in the UP. And
you got your hunting thing going.
Well, we're going up to see my brother's property and all that. So, yeah, it'll be fun. But I will be watching the Lions.
Yep. And also, it's the last weekend for the big chairlift rides. For just $8, you can take that big, long chairlift ride. You'll see a rainbow of spectacular colors. The weather's going to be fantastic. So make your plans to get out to Cedar River, Hawkeye, and Shanty Creek today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Before you know it, everything will be white.
That's right. No excuse. The weather has been unbelievable this fall, so get out there. It may be the last hurrah.
Yeah. So going back to the NFL schedule, I don't know. The Lions 1.5-point underdogs in this game. Like I said, it's going to be difficult to figure out how. I mean, the Vikings are good.
They're very good.
Is Sam Darnold going to keep this up?
You've started to see him leak a little oil here and there in some of the games.
They do have the best wide receiver in football.
Oh, Justin, he's ridiculous.
It's insane.
That's why when Carlton Davis, when he went out with getting his helmet kicked off and all. By the way, NFL players, strap on your helmet tighter so they stay on. What's the deal? It makes you wear their mouthpieces, for God's sake.
I don't understand why they're not wearing.
Oh, it's just like I'd be like.
What, they can't breathe?
Yeah, but they make those ones with the big holes in the middle now, so they can. And so, anyway, but they need to pay closer attention to that. But Jared Goff has played really well against whatchamacallit's defenses. Their D coordinator from Minnesota. Even though he's a great D coordinator, former head coach.
Flores.
Yeah. Yep. And but Goff's played really well against his defenses. So that's a positive.
If the offensive line gives him time, then it's going to be a great game. I don't know how I would bet this. Are the Lions truly going to rally around the loss of Aiden Hutchinson, a la, Sergey when the Red Wings.
Oh yes, yeah.
Again, around Vladdy.
Vladdy, yes.
So they say they will.
Yeah.
But missing that speed and putting that pressure. See, you talk about putting Darnold in a box.
Right.
That having Aiden hauling in on that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get, maybe the production will come from Reeder and Moline and those guys. So we'll see what happens.
But he was one of those defensive where offenses had to scheme against him.
Yeah.
Because, again, he made that big a difference.
Exactly. And it is at Minnesota, and the Lions play traditionally horribly there.
They do.
So
it'll be loud there.
Yeah, it'll be loud there. The Jags are continuing to stay in London.
They should stay in London.
They should stay in London the whole rest of the year.
Don't come back because what they put on TV last Sunday morning was pathetic.
Yeah, that was, and the Patriots,
drops in the. I'm like, can you catch a ball? I mean, that was horrible.
Yeah, I like the Patriots getting 5.5 here.
God.
And unfortunately, we've talked about this. I love Doug Peterson,
I do
but
too.
he has lost his team. And it looks like our beautiful baby here quarterback. I always forget his name because it's forgettable.
It is forgettable because again he had a flash of being really good, and then all of a sudden he's been played way below.
His receivers are not helping him out.
No,
there's a lot of different problems involved with that. So I like New England getting 5.5. The Falcons and the Seahawks. Seattle's getting 2.5. These are the odds earlier in the week.
Okay.
But historically, teams coming from the West Coast to the East Coast and playing in that early window don't play very well.
Yeah.
So, but the Hawks have really fallen off.
In years past, Seattle's done well against that. They've been one of those teams where it didn't when they'd come to Detroit and play well. And the New York teams they always played well back on the East Coast. But this year, something's a little awry. Right?
Yeah, I think Atlanta's looking pretty good.
They are.
The Bills, a great trade for the Bills.
Very smart. Don't give up nearly as much contractually or anything.
Yeah, getting Cooper in because they definitely need a wideout in Buffalo. And Tennessee's falling apart. Even though it's 8.5, I still like the Bills, especially at home. They're going to love them some Amari Cooper
yes.
and Will Levis looks like, I like the kid,
I
but
do
man,
too.
There's something wrong with him. There's something terribly wrong with him.
Really, really wrong.
Here's a game too, like Cincinnati at Cleveland. The Browns getting 4.5. Dumpster fire in Cleveland, but this is one of those like Cleveland destroys that Cincinnati offensive line.
Yeah,
they just do.
They do, and that's it's so one of these divisional rivals.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Throw out the records.
Yeah, but
the Cincinnati's got to, they got the same record.
They need to win.
Oh, they need to win.
So they're going to play with their hair on fire, but
I don't know if it would be enough that they can't stop. Their defense can't stop a nosebleed, but they are playing the worst offense in football. I don't know what's going to happen there. Packers and Texans is a pretty good game.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But are the Packers going to steal the same page out of the Vikings playbook who made the Texans look pathetic? Although Mixon didn't play in that game, and Mixon has been a huge part of this Texans offense. But,
Nico Collins not back yet for Houston either. Their number one receiver.
Yeah. The Colts are playing the Dolphins. Colts, I don't know if Flacco's going to play or Richardson's going to come back. Flacco's played great for them.
Yeah, he's the best backup quarterback right now.
Oh, no doubt.
The last couple of years,
he's better than 5 or 6 quarterbacks that are starting in the NFL right now. But he also has to have the right coordinator, and Shane Steichen's a really good play caller,
smart enough
as was Stefanski in Cleveland.
Yep.
Yeah, they know how to take advantage of him, of a guy that knows how to read defenses.
Always calls plays to their strengths.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But I think the Dolphins are starting to figure things out a little bit, and getting 3.5 looks good to me. The Eagles and the Giants. You got to figure that Saquon is going off.
Yes, you would assume that.
I mean, is he going to get the ball 40 times in this game?
He should. If they're smart, they would.
But the Giants, are playing tough.
They are.
I give them credit,
Was it Dexter Lawrence didn't practice yesterday? Yeah. And then
who's the wideout who had the concussion? Is he coming
back? He's back. Malik Neighbors is back.
Neighbors.
Yes,
so
he
that's
practiced with no issues yesterday.
Yeah, that's a help.
Yeah.
The Rams are giving 5.5 to the Raiders. Are the Raiders cashing in their entire season? I don't know.
Playing for
and I don't know if Cooper Kupp, I think, is back for the Rams this week. Check your injury reports, folks.
Right, that would be helpful. But, I think Las Vegas is playing for a future quarterback.
Yeah, the Washington Commandos are playing the Panthers. The Carolina, do we have a football team?
Right. Should we have a football team?
Maybe they should play the Jaguars in London every week.
Right,
So they just play each other every week for the whole season. The Niners and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl rematch, both coming off byes. This should be a pretty damn good game.
It should be an awesome game. Andy Reid, we know what he does coming off byes. It's great. Of course, they haven't
Niners
lost
need
yet.
to win.
They do.
The Chiefs still missing all that firepower at the wide receiver position.
They've been winning, but kind of just
scraping by.
You look at Patrick Mahomes' stats. They're nothing to break. You're like, oh my gosh, but the guy just wins. He just knows how to win. But San Fran.
And then why are the Steelers starting Russell Wilson?
Have no idea. That's the shot. Mike Tomlin's got to see something in practice that no one else sees, obviously.
Absolutely.
So, it'll be interesting for sure to see that leaky O-line and pass protection and see what Russ can do with that.
And then we got two Monday night games: the Ravens and the Bucks.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I like to. Can the Bucks have a pretty good stout rush defense? So if anybody can stop Derrick Henry, it's them.
Yep.
And then the Harbaughs are playing Arizona. Chargers look pretty good.
They do. Yep. Yeah, and that's another game that's kind of sneaky good as well.
All right. When we return, we're going to have Mike Stoney from Detroit. The 97 won the ticket, recently retired, is going to talk to us a little bit about a historic couple of weeks in Detroit sports. Back after these on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Faceoff.
It's time to fly. Start your next comfortable, convenient journey from Northern Michigan's hometown airport, Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. TVC makes your trip easier with affordable terminal-adjacent parking and all the friendly airport services without all the crowds. Fly from Cherry Capital Airport to your dream destination on Allegiant, American, Delta, Sun Country, and United. Visit tvcairport.com and fly with TVC. Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City. The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan's Sports Dog Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to Friday Faceoff on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by TVC Airport, Cherry Capital. Mike Stoney, joining us on the phone today. Stoney, I wanted to touch base with you. What a last couple of weeks in Detroit sports.
It's been wild. Great to be with you guys. Unfortunately, it hasn't been great. I mean, because the Tigers lost, and although the Lions did what every good American should hope for, is that kicking the crap out of the Cowboys, is the Hutchinson situation, which really puts a pall on the season, I think, a little bit. But let's see.
No doubt about it. I don't know if you want to throw your speculation. I mean, obviously, there's so much talk about who the Lions should go get or who the Lions can get. I guess that's two different conversations. I think the best fit for them, if they're going to go get somebody, is Jadeveon Clowney.
I don't know. I wouldn't use the term malingerer, but he's not one of those high-motor Dan Campbell type of guys. And if you're going to go with the, look, let's put Crosby and Garrett aside, and that's like, waking up with a Ferrari under your Christmas tree. I'd rather go with Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
Somebody like that. Or I think his last name is Wise or whatever with New England. I'm just not, because they're so concerned about culture and all that stuff, that I'm not sure Clowney really fits the mold that they want to do.
He had a great year for for Baltimore last year, though.
Yes, he did. That's true. That's a good point.
And getting out of Carolina is like getting out of.
And it probably wouldn't cost that much either. So it wouldn't be horrible.
No.
But I think he would be like the guys we mentioned at the top. They're the top tier. I think there's people like Reddick and Zadarius Smith who are 2-tier, and I think Clowney's 3-tier.
Mike, let me ask you one quick question about is like this the tell-all weekend? Like if they cannot generate any pressure on the Vikings and we get ripped apart by them, does that put the onus on Holmes to go fix the problem right away?
I think yes. But even with Hutch, I mean, there's no guarantee they were going to create that much damage on Darnold anyway. Obviously, he would be really good. But people forget, Minnesota has a really, really good offensive line, and Darisaul's turning into a major stud. So,
yeah.
And with their receivers, they might try to get the ball, out of his hands pretty quickly. But yeah, obviously, it's not the same defense without your best defensive player and arguably the best defensive player in the league thus far this season.
Yeah. And Estonia Rich here, and Sam Darnold's pretty athletic, too. He can move in the pocket.
We saw that a couple years ago.
We did.
Remember down in Carolina. We was like running all over the field against the Lions in a very important football game that they got blown out on, yes. So that is a really good point. So, while they'll try to get pressure on them, they got to keep their lanes because you're right. That's a great point. Darnold can move a little bit.
Yeah. The one thing that's kind of hopeful, and we'll see more of it, is how good Branch has stepped into his role in the back end. He is looking like just a player that you're going to have back there for 10, 12 years.
Yeah, you're right. He's probably the next guy to get the bag, so to speak. Along with Aiden. Yeah, Branch is terrific, and you see when he's banged up or didn't play because of sickness one game, that there is a little bit of a difference. The key, he's going to obviously help out on their really good receivers. Jefferson's the best receiver in football,
no doubt.
Addison's pretty good. Addison's pretty good as well. In fact, and I'll plug it, the Detroit Football Network podcast that I do with Justin Rogers and Will Birchfield. I interviewed Kevin Seifert, the ESPN.com Vikings writer that's up there now. And he pointed out, he wrote a column about this, that Jefferson, despite having one of his worst games ever against the Lions with, believe it or not, Jeff Okudah covering him, he has more yards against the Lions by far than any other team he has against. And like last year, the Lions won, but Nick Mullins threw for almost 400 yards.
Yeah.
Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the secondary is a lot better than it was back then, but still.
Going back to Tigers, just, unless you saw this coming, where do you rank this as the biggest surprise in Detroit sports?
Wow.
They're
really, you could say possibly the 2022 Lions when they were 1-6, and then they came out of nowhere and had a winning record but didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Possibly before the season, the 06 Tigers,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, I've been following sports for a long time, as you know, and statistically and historically, it's the '73 Mets. But it's they did all the right things. They traded at the deadline like they should have, and they just got on this roll where guys, from AAA who were having ERAs over 5 were just baffling Major League Baseball hitters, and it was crazy. Now, to be fair, as good as the Tigers were, and they were, finishing 33-11, something like that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have made the playoffs if Minnesota did not, implode. I mean, that's the bottom line. So yeah, it was so much fun because all of a sudden people are watching baseball and carrying out baseball again.
Yeah, and that's the other question is Ilitch going to go back to being his dad? Like,
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But I think whether it's this year or the following year, hopefully it's this year a little bit, he's got to at least get to close to middle of the pack.
Right.
Yeah.
Payroll. I would never expect it. I don't think people. He's not going to go like his father would probably say. I don't care what New York's doing. I'm going to give Juan Soto.
Juan Soto. Yeah.
That's right. That's not going to happen. Yeah. And I don't think people realistically should expect that to happen. But there are some other people. Alex Bregman, people like that. There are people available that they could spend money on that would not, would put the Tigers in the middle of the pack, which I think all people want. They don't want to have a small market mentality, and that's what they've had, and I understand it because they weren't really good enough to do anything, and now they made the playoffs, so you have to take that next step, and that next step just can't be hoping that
those guys
keep getting better.
I got to ask you about your beloved Eagles. What is going on there?
They're just out of sorts, man. And their coach seems to be a little bit. Sirianni seems to be a little bit bizarre. They're not getting great production, although they're better defensively than I thought, considering they're getting no production from Carter and Davis, the two big guys from Georgia that they drafted in consecutive years. Slay's banged up a little bit. They played horrible and still won last week against a pathetic Cleveland team, and it was nice, getting A.J. Brown back and Devontae Smith back. So Hurts actually had a good game, but yeah. Well, that division, I don't know. It's who knows with Dallas? They could get high. I doubt it, though, but
right.
Washington's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles will still find a way to win that division, but they're not really that good.
Yeah, and Mike, with Nick Sirianni there, the head coach, going back and forth with the Philly fans, he's never going to win that battle ever.
No,
never.
I mean,
and he was well. When we first got the job, it's like who, and he started talking about, well, this team's like a flower, and people were like, what the hell's with this guy? And then they got to the Super Bowl, so he was, people loved them.
Sure.
And then last year when they started,
10-1
or whatever they were,
10-1.
Yeah, they completely fell apart.
Yeah.
So he was on the, if you believe, the hot seat before the season. If they don't make the playoffs, he's out of there. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, there's a big argument about him having fantastic coordinators, and Vic Fangio's in there, so he's going to make a better impact on the defense than most coordinators will. Mike, I know we got to let you go, and we've got to jump into a high school thing, but thanks so much for taking the time out with us and giving us the Detroit take. We miss you on the ticket, but
appreciate it.
Yeah.
After every Lions game, I'm on for 2.5 hours. So with your old friend Jennifer Hammond.
Yeah, you and the Hammer.
Love the Hammer.
Yep.
Tell her I said, hey, Mike, I appreciate it.
I will do that. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Weekend.
There you go.
Too.
Thank you. The great Mike Stone.
That's right. Still filling in every once in a while on a little swing shift on 97 on the ticket.
He's the left-handed reliever in the bullpen for the ticket.
When they go to the bullpen.
Yeah, I think legitimately, and I mean this with all sincerity, Rich, they don't put him on so much because it's like why Cleveland got rid of Flacco.
Right.
You know, you have Mike on there for it's like why isn't he on?
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I think he's enjoying his kind of semi-retirement, but like he said, no. So
he would rather be on. I mean, he's one of those guys that would be on 8 hours.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
He would
he
just.
Talks. I mean,
he just loves it. I mean, he just absolutely one of those guys.
If it's either sports or Springsteen. Mike just goes. I mean, the conversations that Mike and I have had about Bruce Springsteen
I was gonna say,
will go for hours.
He's how many has he gone? How many?
He's gone like double mine, and mine's 57.
Wow, I know. Because he talks about all the time.
He loves the boss.
Oh, he does.
You know, we've been to a number of shows together. I remember when I went down there. I did an interview with him that we played here, and then I did an interview with him on Springsteen. And there was a whole bunch of backlash. This was last year? It was either last year or 2 years ago, about a lot of people not going to see Springsteen because there was a ticket prices were crazy,
right?
And so a lot of hardcore Springsteen fans, including myself, are like, I'm not going.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally got on his soapbox with me, right. And he's like, what are you talking about? I mean, it was freaking fantastic.
And that's again a guy that's already seen him 100 times.
Yeah, and he knows how many times I've seen him.
Right. And it's just like, come on, what is wrong with you people?
I'm like, does Bruce need the money?
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
But I do hear him filling in again once in a while. But again, like you said, he hosts the post-game show, for 2 hours after every Lions game.
Yeah, and and he knows his stuff.
Oh yeah.
Hold on 1 second, James.
Great. He's got great stories too.
He does.
Very self-deprecating, very funny. It's a great listen.
Yeah, no, he's really good. And Jennifer, he and Jennifer have known each other. Not that I was a sportscaster, but I knew Jennifer really well.
Right.
I knew Mike, still know Mike. Every time I see Jen, she gives me the biggest hug. We talk. She and Mike and I and Wojo and a couple other people used to hang out at 220 Merrill back in the day. Every time I see Woj up in the press box, he's the same thing. But he's ghosting me. I texted Woj.
Right.
I'm like, are you going to come on the show? Never even texted me back, so I'm going to have to give him crap when I see him at the Oregon game. But it is time for the Fick & Sons High School Sportscape Show. Fick & Sons is your local, dependable, reliable propane provider and proud supporters of local high school athletics. Check out everything at fickandsons.com. James Cook, Traverse City Record Eagle, joining us. James, where are you headed today?
I'm headed to the Traverse City West game against Bay City Western.
Okay.
And I won't ghost you guys.
You
won't
won't ghost us?
No.
Well, you can't go. Well, you probably ghost Rich if you get in that wings line before he does.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe.
So maybe
you never can tell.
Right. Exactly. Well, and it's really interesting this West and Bay City Western game. Doing some research. Bay City Western lost a game this year to Midland Dow 3-2, and that was only in 7 innings. But 3-2, you cannot. That has got to be the lowest score ever. That with 2 teams in regulation, that's got to be the lowest scoring.
I'm sure there's a game that's gone 2-0. That wasn't a forfeit because forfeits are 1-0.
Yeah, but but both teams scoring. One scores a safety, one gets a field goal, and that was the final score, 3-2. I almost thought
crazy. I almost thought that was a mistake when I
Thank
saw
you.
it.
I talked to Coach about it. About James Wagner yesterday in our pregame interview. I'm like, was that a mistake?
Did they set a record for punts?
They must have.
Yeah, had to have.
Oh, it's just 3-2.
Because even a forfeit counts as 2-0.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Because somebody has to score, so they give the one team a safety.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I just laughed so hard about that one.
Well, it's funny that you brought that up because I was watching. There was a college football game on Tuesday that Kennesaw State played Middle Tennessee State, and Kennesaw State scored 5.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So
got field goal and a safety.
Yeah.
That's
offensive
a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Juggernaut.
14 to 5.
You can't stop them. You only hope to contain them.
14 to 5.
You should score more points than your school's name has letters.
Yeah.
Well, at Kennesaw State, Middle Tennessee State, if Middle Tennessee State scores more points than their letters, they have the best offense in football.
Right.
Well, maybe just you're the longest single word in your school's name.
Yeah, okay, so you'll be at the Pink Out game. I didn't get a chance to play the interview with Jason Carmine. You know the history behind this, James. Really cool thing that the Student Senate put together at Traverse City West. I think it's there on year 10, 9 or 10 now.
Is that right? Okay.
About supporting people with cancer, primarily breast cancer. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The players all wearing names of folks that have been through cancer or are dealing with it at present. It's just a great, great tradition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's good, and they raised a decent amount of money for this.
Yeah, they have.
They do it with the volleyball games as well. Last year they did it with the Central West game for volleyball, and that raised quite a bit of money.
Yep.
So it's always always a good event.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that they get those buckets up to the press box because you guys are always keep your hands in your pockets.
The donation
but at halftime, the students will all go into the stands with buckets, and all that the dollars raised go to the Cowell Center at Munson in Traverse City, and it goes to pay for gas and trips for therapy and radiation and that. People that have problems paying their bills when they lose their job because of cancer. It is a fantastic offering for people that have to deal with so much when they go through cancer treatment.
Yeah, those expenses all just add up.
It all adds up.
Yeah, so no, that's especially with it being student initiated, that just makes it that much more special.
But this game is huge for Traverse City West. They have got to win.
They do. They're sitting right now as they're sitting in the number 4 seed.
Are they?
They are
Wow.
with that last win. And you know who they bumped out of there? Marquette. So
you're kidding me.
More playoff because of Marquette's. But Marquette closes out really tough schedule though. Really good teams. So they could So yeah, it's going to be quite a battle right to the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have thought Marquette was in there by a lot, but,
right?
But like they beat Gaylord, who doesn't have very many
right.
points when wins. They lost to Petoskey, which surprising the score of that. But that Petoskey team is obviously really good, historically good Petoskey football team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Marquette's Cadillac is actually headed to Marquette for a Saturday night game tomorrow.
Oh, is that okay? And
that's
then
Marquette this week.
Right, and I think they played Kingsford, if I'm not mistaken, real quick, undefeated Kingsford up there as well. So that would be quite the game to be closing out your season.
Yeah. Well, and another thing with Kingsford, I mean, they play Grayling in soccer districts on Saturday afternoon.
Oh,
is that right?
Oh,
that's a good game because Kingsford is ranked number 4 in the state, and Grayling is ranked up there too.
Okay.
So that should be a really good game.
I didn't know they
Saturday.
played soccer in the UP.
Yeah, I see. I thought they confiscated all soccer balls at the Mackinac Bridge.
Yeah, I that is shocking to me that they girls soccer maybe.
They must have came up through the Wisconsin side. They must have.
What is going on?
Yeah, no, they just added soccer into the UP teams and the soccer into the Lower Peninsula tournament a couple years ago.
Okay.
And I remember it was the first year that they were in the tournament that Kingsford came down here and I think beat Elk Rapids. And everybody was like, "What?
What? Yeah."
Yep, you get people's attention when you beat Elk Rapids in soccer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where is that game? That's at Kingsford, James?
It's at Kingsford Saturday at 1.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, go Vikes. This is looking like the best Grayling Viking soccer team of all time.
They have, it is for sure.
James, who else you got on the radar?
Well, I mean that West game is good. I think it should be a good one. You know, Bay City Western runs kind of that funky single wing offense.
Right.
Although I guess from what I've heard, they're kind of going a little bit away from that. They're modifying it a little bit more. every year, so it's a little less looking purely like the single wing. But they've kind of struggled this year with offense. They're not, I think they're last in the league in points scored, or second to last in the league. Bay City Central has really, really struggled to put points on the board, but Bay City Western only has 91 for the whole season. And West's strength is defense, so I think it's gonna be strength on strength. Because Bay City Western does run the ball a lot, and
5-2.
It could be.
I think you'll see more scoring than that.
Well, if they get Esper loose, then they'll score some points.
Yeah.
And Owen Hendricks actually leads the Saginaw Valley League in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Both divisions.
Yeah, he's that read option that he does now. So he's really got that down perfectly.
Yeah.
When to give it to the running back, when to keep it tuck and run. He's done a great job.
Yeah, when you figure that out, it's difficult to deal with in high school, especially. Yes. You've got one of your favorite backyard brawls, James. St. Francis traveling to Benzie.
Yeah, and St. Francis is coming off, a game in which they kind of got thrown around a little bit.
Yeah.
Jackson Lumen Christie, who's one of the best teams in the state in Division 6.
Yep.
So I think that was 35-7.
Yeah.
So
it was 35-7. Yeah.
So they're not going to be happy, which is not
bad
what you
news for
Benzie.
Yeah, no question. And speaking of Jackson Lumen Christie, they host Gaylord this week. So,
oh my God,
Coach Shimoniak and the crew are heading down to Jackson.
God bless America. Yeah. I mean,
good
for.
Yeah, Gaylord had a 2-year deal, I think, with them. I don't know. Maybe they'll keep playing them because it's a good matchup. It's
I don't know.
And Gaylord's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to see a huge turnaround for this juniors class at Gaylord to regain some of their form because they really haven't stepped up the way that Coach Shimoniak was hoping for, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they've struggled this season, but they're a pretty young team. So I think that they're one of those teams that they have a decent amount of underclassmen playing this year. So but next year, I think that they should be quite improved.
That can't be right. Go ahead,
James. Also, Oscoda is hosting, or no, Boyne City is hosting Oscoda. What do you know much about that matchup there?
It's a pair of 5-2 teams. Okay. They played last year, and Boyne City won that one 28-0 in the same week of the season last year. So they've only ever played twice, ever. So Boyne City won both of those. But Oscoda, lost their first 2 games and then has won 5 in a row. So they're obviously a pretty good team. Boyne City's won 3 in a row too. So I think that should be a pretty good matchup of 2 teams that are both 5-2, both looking to get that 6th win and put yourself in position to get maybe 7 at the end of the season, and that's usually going to be a home game.
And also, East Jordan travels to Frankfurt. That should be a pretty good ball game.
That should be a really good game. East Jordan's 5-2, Frankfurt's 6-1. Last year, their game was 38-36.
Okay.
And I think it came down to a 2-point conversion at the end.
Right. Yeah. Right now, East Jordan's got a number 2 seed in the playoff brackets if they can hold on to that. And Frankfurt's in a completely different district, and they're sitting at the number 3 seed with a 6-1 record. Yeah. So both playoff teams here.
Yep, and Frankfurt's getting healthy. They've struggled with some injuries here and there throughout the season and stuff, but it sounds like they're getting a lot healthier towards the end of the season here, which is a good sign for them.
We were talking about Petoskey. They travel. They've got the Sioux coming in, who's not having
they've struggled this year big time.
But their season ender is at Clare.
Oh, that's a great matchup.
Yeah, Week 9 is loaded.
Yeah, Week 9 is loaded.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've got to get all those games on TV, James.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are some great matchups.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, you've got obviously the Patriot game. You've got that game with Clare. You've got I think in the Lakes against Gaylord St. Mary in A-player football.
Yep.
It's probably one of the better games in Northern Michigan. As far as 8-player football, it's got to be the best game in Northern Michigan. St.
Francis played. St. Francis is playing Boyne City.
Yeah.
There is
a great traditional matchups.
Yeah. No, you're right. We might have to start the scoreboard show early next week.
Hour and a half long now.
Anything else on your radar?
Well, we've got the state finals for golf and tennis start today. So we've got multiple teams from Northern Michigan playing in those, and a few individuals in golf that qualified as well. So those both go today and then continue tomorrow. And then you've got a lot of other games. You've got I guess in football you've got St. Joseph Our Lady of the Lakes is at Onekama on Saturday, so that should be a pretty good game. St. Joe has been a pretty solid team this year. After I didn't even know that was a school until this year. and
wow,
now they've got a pretty good football program.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And again, I want to make one point about the new point system in football and how you make the playoffs. In Division 6, Standish Sterling, a team we know to the southeast here, all of that, who's played a really tough schedule. Of course, they're in that Jack Pine Conference there, and they play out the Gladwins, the Ogama Heights, all those guys. They're sitting at a 4-3 record, and they're right now a number 1 seed in their district. So it's all about, again, who you play and how they're playing. And so a 4-3 team could be a number 1 seed as of right now.
Mm-hmm. And one team that's hoping to, I think, play their way into being a playoff possible team is Traverse City Central. They've got to beat Bay City Central tonight. That should be completely doable. That they're on the road, but it still should be pretty decent. I think Bay City Central is the lowest scoring team by far in the Saginaw Valley League, and then that would put them at 4 wins. So they would be at a point where if they can pull out the Patriot game, that's 5 wins, and you've got yourself a fighting chance to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, last year a lot of 4- and 5-win teams made the playoffs.
Yeah, but like you said, but you can be a 6-win team and not get in.
Not get in.
Yeah,
that's right.
TC West has got to win out, and regardless of how Central has been, it will be a battle.
It will, absolutely. I mean, and Central won 12-10 last week,
and they'll play in 85-degree weather. The way things have been
you're
going.
hoping it's just like going to be like this next week.
I mean, the weather last year was atrocious.
It's
if you remember,
some years it's been fantastic, and other years it's been horrible.
Yeah. Like I was surprised that we had 10,000 people at the game last year with how crappy the weather was. So, all right.
I'll show up for that game.
Yeah, they do, and the surprising thing is how many people were viewing. Anyways, the numbers of people that we had viewing our stream and watching the game was like in the 3,000s. So, and I figured like everybody that was interested in that game was in the stadium.
Yeah.
So
it shows you the interest in that game,
no doubt.
for sure.
James, any news on the Get Around podcast? You know what's coming at us?
We're not sure who we're going to have on this week. We've had a couple weeks here where we haven't had a show because Jordan was out of town and stuff, but. So we're looking at kicking her back up on Monday, but we're not exactly sure who we're going to.
You can always
on. We'll look at seeing who does what this weekend and stuff, and then if people want to catch me on another podcast, I have another one. It's called Not the Same Old Lions. It's a Detroit Lions podcast, and me and a couple of friends do.
Nice.
We've been going for like 2 years now.
Oh, that's
usually
first
2 episodes a week during the season.
Oh.
Okay, so we'll ask you the question. Is there any chance Max Crosby ends up in a Lions uniform?
Not this year.
Would love it.
He plays out his Raiders contract and signs with the Lions or something like that. But, I mean, from what I've heard, some team contacted the Raiders in the offseason and offered a number 1 pick for Max Crosby, and the Raiders responded with profanity.
Well, the Raiders respond with profanity no matter what the question is.
Yeah,
pass the bleep and salt.
Yeah,
that's true. But I think it would require multiple first-round picks to get Crosby, and I just don't see Brad Holmes doing that. If they're going to address the defensive end spot, they're going to find some probably older veteran defensive ends who are on the tail end of their contract who are going to
Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney will be a Lion.
Could be somebody like that. It could be if the Cowboys or the Browns lose to the Bengals this week, you could see Zadarius Smith.
Yeah. I think you'll see Zadarius Smith
like
anyways.
Yeah.
He's either going to be a Lion or something else. So, all right, James, thanks so much for joining us. And if you need a Get Around podcast guest, Rich and I are happy to do it.
All right.
At least it will be fun.
Yeah. Hey, James, thanks. We'll see you tonight, bud.
No problem. Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you.
All right, bye-bye. There you go. Want to thank Fick & Sons for allowing us to promote the high school Sportscape show. They are your local propane provider, but so much more than just propane. They provide home heating fuel for residential and commercial customers. Charlie's Country Corner on 4 Mile Road on I-75 in Grayling with the Arby's, the convenience store, the Super 8 by Wyndham, and the Diesel Garage. Sunny Spot Fuel in Roscommon, over here on the Bear Lakes Marathon in Kalkaska. Whittemore has the Crossroads Citgo offering gas, diesel, and racing fuels. Go to fickandsons.com. Rich?
All right. No more Tigers on the air to promote. Nope. That's a bummer, but we've still got the Lions going.
University of Michigan. You got University of Michigan here at 2:30 pregame
that
tomorrow.
Should be a good game.
Illinois, yes. Back to CBS Radio here on Up North Sports Radio.
Happy Friday. It's Up at 9:10 meteorologist Haley Fischetti, and here's a look at today's forecast. Mostly sunny skies across the region with winds a bit breezy at times from the south-southwest around 8 to 18 miles per hour. Temperatures will have no issues warming up today as highs are expected to be in those low 60s to low 70s, and heading into tonight with mostly clear skies back in the region. Winds stay from the southwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour tonight, and your lows drop into the mid-30s to mid-40s. This weekend's looking really nice. Mostly sunny skies on Saturday, temperatures in the low 60s, low 70s. There is limited rain chances for areas in the UP Saturday night and Sunday morning, but dry skies throughout the day. We'll have all the details on 9 and 10 News. Happy Friday. It's Up at 9:10 meteorologist.
Very angry because he played soccer, and then he wants to go get some steak. That part doesn't apply. Buy or sell, I have to go easy on him in the competition spirit on his birthday.
Buy.
No, I'm just testing your manhood. That's a terrible answer.
Dude, feel good on his birthday. It's one day.
What would Vin Diesel do, Tom?
Dom wouldn't take it easy on anybody.
No, he would.
I
loved you, but you lost your memory now with Charlie Theron, the bad guy.
It's all just a ruse.
Let me ask you a question. I saw that he made out with her, okay? I mean, if you're kissing Charlie Theron, like, I think probably in character, I mean, that can't be good for the Fast and the Furious marriage.
Michelle Rodriguez, by the way, is his name of actual wife.
She was.
I had no idea she was in Lost.
I think so.
No, it wasn't great at the time, but everybody realized that it was just a ruse.
Well, how far did the ruse go, though? How far did he get into character?
Almost the whole movie.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Well, it didn't get further than that, like, romantically.
How do you know?
Well, I saw the movie.
Off-screen. Stuff happens off-screen.
Speaking of off-screen, I have a follow-up for your buddy Bruno.
Yeah.
Is he a fan of the movie Encanto because of the Bruno song in there?
You know what? So he played in a tennis tournament at this place, and they played that song. And his
catchy.
He's got I've never seen it. He has 2 daughters. They love it. I've never seen Encanto.
It's an okay movie. The music, in all seriousness, even aside from that song, is fantastic.
Isn't there something wrong with Bruno? Or?
We don't talk about Bruno. No.
Oh!
The music in that movie is excellent.
your boy band energy is going through the roof today. The hoodie and then the singing. You're crushing it, man.
You should watch
when
Encanto.
when you go home tonight, is your wife going to be able to pick up on your boy band energy? Be like, there's something different about you tonight, honey.
Sell.
Something.
Hard sell. All right, Bill. Let's get into some NFL here. Buy or sell. You find Kirk Cousins more likable since joining the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, but kind of in the way you're. I don't have it. If my uncle's listening, it's not you, Uncle John. The kind of the way that with your dopey uncle. Buy.
Buy.
Not in a great. Not in a. Oh, Uncle Ned.
Do you think it still fits calling him Kirk Kissing Cousins?
It's a Friday. It's pretty mean. Buy. Yeah, no, it's
Buy.
That's a bad one. Do you think Kirk Kissing Cousins? Do you think it's self-explanatory? If you don't know the.
For the most part, yes.
Buy or sell, you like Kirk Kissing Cousins more than Bobby Cakes for Robert Kraft.
Sell.
Bobby Cakes is the best one. Bobby Cakes takes the cake.
Bobby Cakes takes the cakes.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Okay. Bye. I like what you're doing. You got
Bye.
You got that Friday boy band energy. You're wearing that $400 hoodie.
You're gonna find out. I'm gonna ask my wife that this actually cost $4.
I'm in. I'm embarrassed to say this. I needed a wooden spoon. This is so humiliating.